The Eva Air Sunshine Coast Marathon is back on Sunday, August 3rd with a brand new single lap marathon making for a faster and more scenic course. The full marathon is almost 80% sold out, so sign up today at sunshinecoastmarathon.com.au to secure your spot at the start line. This weekend's guest on the Inside Running podcast is the founder and managing director of Atlas Events, which organises the Sunshine Coast, Cairns, Hobart Airport and Brisbane Marathon festivals. Welcome to the Inside Running podcast, Jason Crowther.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Good to have you. Good to be on, hey?
Oh, I like talking to race directors, and we've already kind of spent about 10 minutes off air talking about all the things behind the curtain, but I feel like when I have a race director on, it's a great way to, give the listeners a bit of insight about what happens behind the curtain when we see these major races kind of pop up on the Australian streets.
Yeah, and thanks for having us on. We'll talk about it later, but, the running boom's taking off. Talk about my background. It's I'm from a running background, but hardly an elite athlete. But it's running's going great in Australia. It's great to see so many people joining the marathon craze, and it's really good to see some really fast Aussie times coming out at the moment as well. Marathon halves, which is it's been a while since we've seen that, so it's great to see that coming back to Australian soil as well.
So you're like a big fan of it. You're paying attention to what happens. The last couple of weeks we had Boston, we had London, we had Ballarat. Like you, a big consumer of what happens at the pointy end. And I guess, well, you're the guy that just looks up how many finishes they have to kind of have a look at the numbers and see where the drink stations are and things like that when you're consuming running content.
Like I said, I was a slow pro back in the day, so the elite side of it still interests me. The number side is crazy at the moment as well, though. I know, like London, they had 1.1 million people enter the ballot for the 2026 event. Like, that just blows my mind for a 50,000 person event. So numbers to me excite me. So numbers from a participant point of view, but then also times, right? Like when Kipchoge broke his 2 hour, when the boys can run sub 60. I'd love to see, Lonnie's coming up soon. I'd love to see a record get broken. It's been a while since the men's record's been broken. You see, it's possible. Hey, I'd love to see something happen at that event. Kudos to Richard for bringing that to Australian shores, and the lineup looks sick. So I get caught up in the times because it blows me how fast the boys and now the girls are running faster than I ever was. So that impresses me as well. Hey?
Oh, Izzy Bat Doyle's result for 10K over the weekend, like 30:44. When you're starting to see females run those times, like that would win most of, I'm not sure what your 10Ks won up in Sunshine Coast every year, or Brisbane or Hobart, but she'd be winning most of those, wouldn't she? 10K road races outright.
She'd be getting line on us, yeah. So Sunny Coast is quick. They're running sub 30s there, but a female running 30, like any athlete running at 30, it's super impressive, and it's like I said, it's great to see. I'm loving the Australian depth at the moment, and mixing it. Liam and the boys that just went over to Japan for the ASICS run, like 27s, like Liam and Sam. Was it Sam?
Yeah, Sam Clifford. Yeah.
Just yeah, and as just an invitation. It's not a one of the major events. You've just gone over and run a fast course, and they're dropping 27s. It just blows my mind.
Does it make it easier or harder for you when we kind of have this depth? Like, I guess the obvious answer would be it's easier to find people in your races because there's more of them around, but do they all want to go to the same place to chase the bigger money? Like you just spoke about Launceston, like they're, I think it's platinum label now, is it? So they've got
It's
more
elite,
more
yeah,
elite, yeah. So they
elite
got
level,
more
yeah.
money up for grabs. So like, yeah, is it hard to find some of the bigger names to land on your start list?
For the half and 10, no. Um, for the marathons, yes, and you know this, like, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but you can only do a certain you can only do a certain amount of marathons a year, right? With the revolution of the new shoes, you can back up and do more halves than what I used to when I was, racing. But with the shoes now, you can back up after a half and train the next day. You're not doing any more than 2 or 3 marathons a year unless you're someone pretty spectacular. Everyone's chasing, well, the top guys, they're chasing a time, so they're chasing that fast time, and also they're going to want to chase. You've got to live, so you're doing this as a professional. You've got to chase some money. So, um, at the moment we don't have those super fast courses, right? We're running with depths in the marathon. So most of the top guys and girls are going to run overseas to chase those times. And then from a marathon point of view in Australia, you're going to have to give the top athletes either really good prize money, like Lonnie's doing to attract the halves, but in the marathon also start money, and that's unless you've got massive prize money like Sydney, and Sydney at the moment, I think they're going pretty deep in the Australian prize money as well,
Yep,
which is
separate
great.
category
It's
there.
it's great. Like, it's going to attract some fast Aussies. You know, attracting, what's that guy's name? Kipchoge. I think people would have heard of him. Uh, it's not just chasing those guys. It's going to chase some depth in the in the Aussie marathon field as well. So for me, I think the half and 10, we're always going to get fast times at our event if we've got good prize money. But to get fast marathon times, we've got to put either some start money or good prize money up.
Yeah. And how, like you touched on a couple of times back when you were competing, like tell us a bit more about your running. I've got some times in front of me now and a bit of triathlon background as well. Like I found a 3:23 at Sydney Marathon last year. Would that be right?
Yeah, yeah. A little bit quicker than that back in my day, but I'll tell you a funny story. So, jumping around a bit, but yeah, but back in the day, I was a middle distance runner back sort of early high school, and then got into tries later in high school, probably just a state level, nothing real faster than that. And then went to uni, went overseas, had a massive snowboarding accident and blew up my ACL and got into cycling as rehab. And off the back of that, got back into tries and then started doing long course triathlon. Running was my strength, but was never a super fast runner. Got into some like really solid riding, was riding strong. Swimming was my weakness, so that's why I did long course. Short course tries, you really need a strong swim to make the front pack. I did a year in France racing draft legal stuff, which was fun. More of a working holiday than anything, but loved that. Mixed it with some really fast guys over in France, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, my my racing background is sort of long distance triathlon, and yeah, 3:23 at Sydney last year. Probably my slow. It's actually my slowest marathon time, but love the course. Such a good event. Again, so stoked that Sydney's got that world major now, and being a part of it last year. Great course, hilly, tough, but an amazing event. Probably one of the most picturesque marathons I've done. I've done Chicago, Vegas,
Yeah,
and
3:01 at
yeah, as a
Chicago,
picturesque event, it's
2016.
phenomenal.
3:01 at Chicago in 2016. Was that you?
Yeah, yeah, that's me.
Is that the
And
PB?
no, I've gone quicker than that. Gone high 40s in Japan
Okay.
um, ages ago, back when I was living over there in a place called Aomori, a long time ago now. But Chicago, Chicago's great event, hey. That was really good conditions as well. I was hoping to run around the 3 hours that day, and yeah, pretty close. Um,
Well, I found some shorter distance stuff. Is issue 32:50 for 10k? That's a rapid time.
yeah, where was that?
That was you should know it's your PB maybe. This is 2009 Noosa Running Festival
Yeah, okay.
and a 73 half marathon a couple
Yeah,
years later there.
at Noosa, yep,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think my 5K there as well as a low 15. Um,
Okay.
but I
Yeah.
think
This.
that was before results were online, so you might not even find that one.
Yeah, I couldn't find that one. Your 5k, they've ripped her off. They've got 17:44, but I knew that
Yeah,
wouldn't be
yeah,
right if you're
no.
running 32 for 10k.
But in saying that, the 5K at Noosa, I don't know. Yeah, I think she may have been short because I definitely didn't think I was in 3 minute pace. So that's probably why that's been wiped off the books.
So then, how do you find yourself as like in charge of events, like with Atlas here as the managing director?
Yeah, so this is where this funny story I was going to go into, and I was going to jump ahead, but so you'll love this. So went to Vegas. A group of us went to Vegas and did the Vegas Marathon back in 2011. So December, yeah, November, December 2011. So it used to start at, I don't know if you've ever done it. I don't know if it happens anymore, but it used to start at night and you'd finish on the strip under lights at night in Vegas. So Vegas, we'd run through Old Vegas, do the half in Old Vegas, and then the final half was pretty much up and down the strip, dead flat. Anyway, we went over as a group of lads, 10 of us, and myself and another guy. Our goal was to run 2:48. We just wanted to run 4 minute K pace, and this was, so what's that, 15 years ago. We didn't have any options for healthy food, right? So we were, the night before we ate PF Chang's or PJ Chang's. Anyway, it's like a chain Chinese store, like just not good food the night before a marathon. Anyway, so I was running with this guy. We start about, it wasn't a big event, like 15,000. It's not a big one like the majors. Um, anyway, we're starting about 50th, thinking that we're going to be 2:48. We're going to be around that 50th place sort of thing, looking at times. Anyway, we take off, and about 300 meters in, there's a walker, like a walker started ahead of us. And anyway, at the time, I've said to my mate Gary, look, check out this guy. What's he doing starting at the front of the race? Like, anyway, keep running, get through halfway. I think and I can't remember my time exactly. Went through around 122, 124, something like that, and then just every Portaloo from then on in, I was just diving into, just absolutely came through me. Anyway, I ended up finishing. I'm coming down the finish straight. It's times around a 3:02. Anyway, sure, I'm dying. Pitch black. It's freezing. Lucky to be finishing. Lo and behold, who comes up beside me? It's the walker. Anyway, so I've looked across, going, "Oh my god!" Anyway, I ended up having a sprint finish with a walker. I got him. Claim to
Well done.
fame. Claim to fame. I got the walker, but I was like, oh my god, like going from 122, 124 to ended up doing a 3:03. I was like, that's definitely not how you run a marathon. Make the story even better. We had a bet, this guy and I, myself and Gary, the loser between the two of us, he ended up running like a 2:46 or something. The loser between the two of us, the winner got to choose anything that the loser had to do, and I was going to get him to swim in the Bellagio pool, but I didn't win the bet. So he made me get a Hannah tattoo of the time on my bicep, like 3:03 and change or whatever. Took a photo of it and then sent it home to my pregnant wife at the time. And oh my god, she rang me just in hysterics. She's like, "What have you done?" Knowing that I was obviously wanting to run something quicker. "What have you done getting that tattoo to your arm?" And anyway, we kept the bet going for like the next week. And yeah, I came home totally into the doghouse because yeah, she's like, she couldn't believe it. She's like, you're a bloody idiot. Anyway, moving on. We come back from Vegas. The two guys I went with, McDonald's licensees, good mates of mine, and they're like, we got to start an event like this on the sunny coast. We need to start an event that raises money for charity, etc. I'm like, all right, cool. At the time, I was still working full time. My wife and I were working full time. I was an engineer. She was a teacher. Um, and we're running some small running events, like the Sunshine Coast Run Series, it was called at the time, just a four series event throughout the year, 400 people, tiny. I was running a triathlon coaching group. My wife was running a beginners women's triathlon group, and I was coaching as well, doing some online stuff and a, and a, and some sessions. And we're like, yeah, no worries, we'll do this. Can't be too hard. So that was in December, and then next August we ran Sunny Coast Marathon 2012, and we got like 5,000 runners. We're like, all right, this has gone from nothing to just something. And back then, that was a lot of runners, right?
Yeah.
This was almost 15 years ago. 5,000 was a lot of runners back then. It's not so much anymore. I think off-road events are almost getting 5,000, but I ended up quitting my job as an engineer. My wife was, I think, 7 months pregnant at the time, so she finished up, and yeah, we started Atlas Events, and that's the start of it. That's how we, got into the events game. Totally fell into it. Was never planned, but love it. Would not want to do anything else. I love what I do from the background, that how we came into it, and just loving the growth in running at the moment as well.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? And then the other ones, did you start them all from scratch, or were some of them already established and you acquired them?
Yeah, so Brizzy was our next event. So we'll just talk about Brizzy, Sunny Coast, Hobart, and Cairns, because they're our major four,
Yeah.
right? We run some triathlons and other events as well, but they're our big four. Brizzy was getting run at the time by Steve Manning from In Training. They were getting about 4,000 to 5,000. This is about 3 years after we started Sunny Coast. I was like, and at the time it was run in early August, and Sunny Coast was late August. I'm like, these two events are sort of cancelling each other out, right? Our demographic was sort of southeast Queensland. Well, our drive market was southeast Queensland. So I approached him and said, I'm keen to take it over. And he had a running store at the time. I was like, yep, great. You fit the bill, because, we were good mates. And I also knew someone was working with him really closely, Ricky Swindale, who does LA at the time, and now he's an athlete as well. Really nice guy. And bought Brizzy with the goal of turning that into, it was a bit of footpath run at the time. So turning that into what it was back when 82 when Deeks won the Commonwealth gold there. So that's the goal, is to build Brizzy into what a capital city marathon could be, and it's getting to that stage now. We're still a couple of years away from a one lapper and a really significant course, but this year I think we're going to just shy of 14, just over 14,000 people at a capped event. So yeah, it's going well as well. And then we started Cairns. It was funny. I just went through. I just Googled top Australian city populations in Australia, and just looked for an event that didn't have a marathon, and Cairns came up. So I was like, all right. Then we started Cairns, and Cairns is doing well as well. We're at capacity there. It's not I wouldn't say a fast event. It's more of a destination event. Great place to go in winter. Multi-loop course. So we've capped that just to, and I'll talk a little bit about this later when we talk about sort of, more about, running growth and stuff, but just don't want to grow our events too quickly, too big. It just creates congestion on course, and it gives for I don't know, especially the top age groupers and the elites, it makes for a bad experience, like re-looping through the slower runners and stuff. So, but to me, every runner that's doing a marathon, I still think the ones that are doing it in 6 hours are doing it harder than anyone else because they're spending. The hardest marathon I've done is Sydney. There was a 3:23. The longer you spend out there, the harder it is. So the guys doing the longer ones, um, they're doing it harder. But the guys running quick, they don't want to be running through traffic. It just doesn't make it a good experience for them. And then I've since had another partner buy into the business to grow. We want to grow Atlas, not just from how many events we have, but more prestige with the events. What we've been doing with Sunny Coast, the Australian Half, in the lead up to the games, hopefully getting some world champ events, etc. And then we started Hobart as a city marathon, and this year, fourth year, really went well, just shy of 3,000, and it's starting to go off as well. So yeah, that's pretty much our four portfolio. Brizzy and Sunny Coast are our two biggest, capping this year around 15,000 each. Again, Brizzy could have taken 20,000 this year, but with a multi-loop course with a two-lapper, I just don't want to do it. I don't need to. So once it becomes a one-lapper, we'll turn it into a bigger event. But growing too quickly, there's a couple of things. You just don't run good events, and I've had some bad mishaps where some top elites have gone the wrong way at my course, and I just don't. It's not good for me. It's not good for the athlete. I want to sleep at night knowing that I run good events. So
Yeah, it's great to
growth
hear
is
that.
good, but you want controlled growth, I think.
Yeah, I heard Mona talk about it with Ballarat as well, like being its second year, saying that they've kind of got a number that's like, this is the number we can run a good event, and this is the number we can push to get more entries, but it might then impact how well your event runs. And they kind of chose to take the lesser number and keep the event kind of smooth, which I think is amazing that you're just not looking at the bottom line as the main goal there and how many entries you can get.
Well, I think it's the long game. Hey, like um, if I was selling the business tomorrow, you maybe have a different plan, but it's not why I'm in it. I'm doing this job for life. I love what I do, um, and to me, the success of an event is probably a couple of things. One, you've got to have a good course. It's people come to your event because it's a good course. Now, whether that's fast or scenic or destination or prestige, there has to be some element that you've got a good course. And then, secondly, unless you're running a good event, there's so many other options out there. Like people just choose other events. So, credit to Mona's this pretty smart guy and he knows running, but I agree. Don't try and just take every participant you can because long term it's not good for your event and not good for running in general, I think.
Is there a consistent like challenge across all the events that keeps you up at night and like has you scratching your head that you're like, geez, this is always doing my head in?
Um, so luckily now I've got a team, and we share the burden now. It used to be um, the negative feedback from road closures for residents that you were impact. Like I'm not naive in we close Brisbane for 9 hours, major city. We close Sunny Coast, which is now turning into a major city for 8 hours. I'd hate to see what Sydney has to deal with, to be honest. But yeah, just that's the sort of stuff that you can't just say to them, "Oh, it's only one time a year." You're locking people in, and with the bigger the events get, the more prestige you have at event, the more top end runners, the more celebrities that are coming to the events, the safety around how you've got to protect not only your event precinct from any sort of attacks. We haven't never had anything here, but and then on course from cars driving on course when there's runners, we have to be pretty stringent on, if you're on course, you're not getting out, unless it's emergency. And that's the hardest thing to deal with when you're trying to not just put on an event, but grow an event. So this year, Sunny Coast, we're changing the course. And with that, you just get those headaches of what comes with that. You're locking in residents that haven't been locked in before. That used to be the stuff that hit hard, because you're trying to do the right thing. You're doing an event that's supporting health, supporting the community. All our events are really charity focused. It's sort of comes back to why we started Sunny Coast. It was always to be a charity event. It's always to raise money for charity. I'm lucky I got that drilled into me quite early, like the importance of, if you're going to do something in the community, the impacting, you have to give back to it. So that's always been a big part of our events, is either some sort of charity or community element. Otherwise, people are like, why is this event happening? You're shutting down our city for what? So you can take the money and run with it. It has to be something going back to the community. Otherwise, those conversations become a lot harder with the residents. And so I suppose now that we've got some big figures, like Sunny Coast now, last year, over 350 grand for charity. It's over 2 million now since its inception. When we have the conversations with those residents, we can say, this is what the event's doing. So it's easier now. Let's just say it's easier now than what it used to. And I've got a team that I'm not making all those phone calls myself, right?
They can do those. Hey, on to Sunny Coast. Like, where you guys stack up? Third, fourth biggest in the country? Like, what do we got? Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast. I'm going to call the big three. Are you guys fourth when you look at the numbers?
Yeah, so Sunny Coast this year will be capacity 15. I don't want to take any more than that. We had 12 and a half last year. Again, we could take more, but it's just growth. And with Sunny Coast as well, also, we have restrictions in regards to public transport and accommodation as well. So, yeah, we're the fourth biggest now. I think Brizzy, short term similar, but long term it'll probably be the fourth biggest moving forward, just because it has direct train line the to the start line, has way more accommodation. To me, though, Sunny Coast is still going to be our premier event. It's the one that, in the lead up to 2032, it's got potential for championships, events, etc. And that's what I want to turn Sunny Coast into. So not so much our biggest event, but our biggest elite field, biggest championship event, fastest event. That's what I want to. That's what I want to sort of. That Sunny Coast has always been that. We had the Australian Half Marathon champs for 6 years. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed supporting the Aussie athletes we had, and we got really good support from all the states in regards to that. A lot of top runners, as you know, came. Lisa held the all-comers record for a while.
Great race that year.
Yeah, sub 69. Boys run sub 63 there. So yeah, it's that's what I want Sunny Coast to be. I love the fast, the prestige, the championship type event for Sunny Coast moving forward.
And is that like on a rotation, or like do you get locked in for X amount of years and then somebody else puts their hand up for it, or like how does that work behind the scenes?
Yeah, so we've had it for the last 6 years. We don't have it this year. Goldie's got it this year, which I think it should move around. I think it gives an opportunity for runners to run different courses. To me, it's probably good timing for us, because we're not going to run a championship event, this year for Sunny Coast, but our goal is to start running championships event in the marathon. Like, now that we're going to have a 1 lap course, the prestige event at Sunny Coast will now tend to push towards that sunny coast, that sunny coast one lapper. Still looking to get fast times for the half um, this year and probably over the next couple of years, because Sydney being close now, it'll be the end of August, and sunny coast the start of August. We're going to find a lot of depth in the Australian runners going to Sydney, which I 100% agree with. They've got some really good prize money, plus they're getting to run against the best in the world. So a lot of the fast Aussie boys, I think, will still, and girls, will come and do Sunny Coast half, whether it's a prep for Sydney or something they're doing later in the year, Valencia, etc. I know they'll all chase that as a pretty fast time, but growing the marathon, and I don't want to run a championship event this year or next year because I want to get it right first. I want to make sure I'm running a really good event before I bring top runners there, because you hate to get it wrong on the live stream when you you only get one shot at it right.
Yeah. If you're after the perfect place to chase a personal best or just enjoy a stunning run along the coast, then the Eva Air Sunshine Coast Marathon Festival is a must-do event for you. Whether you're a sub 3-hour marathoner or lining up for your very first 10K race, this festival has something for everyone. Happening Sunday, August 3rd, this year's event is making history with the first ever single lap marathon on the Sunshine Coast. That's right, no more laps, just one beautiful fast coastal loop showcasing some of the Sunshine Coast's most iconic scenery, from Alexandra Headland to Majimba. Make history and be one of the first to take it on and cross the finish line. With a fast, scenic, World Athletic certified course, it's perfect if you're chasing a PB or a World Major qualifier, or just want to soak up the energy and run in paradise. Choose from the full marathon, half marathon, 10K, 5K, and the family-friendly 2K mini marathon. With vibrant crowd support, beautiful coastal views, and ideal Queensland winter running conditions, it's a race weekend that truly delivers. Join thousands of runners on Sunday, August 3rd for what could be your best race yet. Enter now at sunshinecoastmarathon.com.au. The Eva Air Sunshine Coast Marathon Festival, your best race in the perfect place. This race is proudly supported by Eva Air, Sunshine Coast Council, Visit Sunshine Coast, and Tourism and Events Queensland. What about like the running boom that's happened? Does it present different challenges? I know my wife, she was in a fun run the other day and was like making comment about how people just don't even know where to stand at the right spot in starting pens, and they'll have their headphones in and there's, not listening to instructions, and then it kind of gets a bit messy for the first, 300 or 400 meters of a race. And I was explaining to her, like, this could be their first experience in a starting pen. And we've got a whole lot of new people coming to our sport who you almost have to like learn the way of what the first starting zones mean for different races, and figure out how to go through drink stations without cutting 25 people off. And what are some of the observations you've seen in the last few years when this running boom's kind of taken over Australia?
Yeah, so firstly, it is a lot younger crowd, right? And you're right. When it's a younger crowd, it's they haven't been through the fun runs. They haven't gone through the 5K and the 10K, and they haven't learned the way that the rest of us have, right? Before I go, like, it's positive, like it's great. Like, I'd rather post COVID, the post COVID running boom, like the amount of shift for that 20 to 30-year-old bracket that's gone into health, rather than going and pissing it up. And it's great. It's awesome for the running industry. You're right. The education piece isn't there. What it means, and you're finding this, event organisers just have to get better. Like, we just can't assume that people know everything. And we've been caught out, right? And I'll give you a good example. And this is one thing that blew my mind. So last year at Brizzy, we're running through Tenerife. So I don't know if you know Brisbane. We're running through Tenerife, New Farm, $15 million properties, right, on the water. And we do a clean up at the end of every event. And I was down there early, just after the event, and the amount of litter on course, just gel wrappers, it blew my mind. I've never seen it ever. And it was just us being naive to the fact that all these new runners are coming through aren't understanding, if you're going to have a gel wrapper and you're going to discard it into either a bin or an aid station or something. So from that, we've brought in like the Ironman mentality that, feed stations are only at aid stations. You must discard your rubbish within aid stations. We just never communicated that before. So to your point, it's just we've got to get better at one, running our event, but two, communication in the lead up to events. So in the lead up to an event now, the last couple of weeks, it's just all ops for us. There's no marketing. I say to my team, I don't care about entries. I just want you to tell the runners that are coming to our event what they need to do and what they're going to expect, how to get there, how to treat every other participant. If you're running with headphones, which I'm against, but you're never gonna change that, right? Stay left, especially with our multi-loop courses. We've now implemented cleanup angels at our event, so we've got like 4 different groups of volunteers that just literally clean up our course and just sweep the course for us. Because again, going back to that point, we're shutting down communities. We're coming in. We're priding ourselves on health and well-being, and then you go and leave your course as a mess. It's sort of the last thing
Good
you
way to
want to
piss
do.
off
So,
people.
to your question, we've just got event organisers got to be better. And we should. We've gone from like I said, 5,000 people in 2012 to now 15,000. Run our events better. Don't just take the money and run it how you used to. Staff up, make sure comms are there. We run our events better. Otherwise, one, participants are going to not going to do your events, and two, the communities that we run the events in are going to go, guys, pick up your act, or you're not doing it.
Yeah. Hey, 2032, the man in charge of the Brisbane Marathon and the Sunshine Coast Marathon and the Olympics are going to roll into town. Firstly, how excited were you with that announcement? And then secondly, I've seen some whispers about potentially the marathon course is going to be the Sunshine Marathon course, but I guess you're in a good position being in charge of both of those courses that could have a big role to play.
Yeah. So firstly, golden ticket, right? Golden ticket for Southeast Queensland to host an Olympics. It's so exciting to me. I don't know. You're probably how old are you?
I'm a 37.
30. So okay, so yeah, so 2000 Olympics.
Massive.
I went down and watched it. I watched the try. Um, amazing. The pinnacle of what we're all involved in. So to me, 2032 coming to Southeast Queensland, across Brizzy, Sunny Coast, Goldie, massive. Definitely got me pumped. We're growing our events and growing our portfolio, but that is just the pinnacle. If I can get some sort of gong at the 2032 games, and my team can get a gong in some way, absolutely stoked. That there's nothing more than you could achieve in the profession that we are than doing something at the game. So the Sunny Coast pitch for the 2032 able body and para marathon events and the walk-in. And at this stage, it's not 100% confirmed, but it looks like, it's penciled in for Sunny Coast to get it, which, yeah, amazing if it does. It looks like 2026 will be when they announce all the events. So I think they've just announced like all the infrastructure projects now, where the stadium's going to be, where the pool's going to be. There's still a bit of conjecture there, but next year, and I don't know when, but next year looks like that's when they're going to announce which, who gets all the events, right? Whether, I think Goldie's got their hand up for the try. We've got our hand up for marathon, the walk-in, the cycling, I think the mountain biking at Sunny Coast. So from a Sunny Coast Marathon point of view, I want to put that event in a space between now and sort of 2028 because IOC works Olympics to Olympics, so they're not going to even be. They're looking at 2032, but they're working from Olympics to Olympics. So get to the point at 2028 where we can host some sort of world championship event, whether that's a world championship juniors or world half or something where I'm running a good enough event that um, they can come and say, we want to use your existing course you've got. It's a great course. Um, here you go, run this event for us, um, and then the legacy that that creates for Southeast Queensland and our event moving forward is just massive.
Oh, imagine the spray painted blue line. Seeing that, you just use you wouldn't change the course ever again, would you? Once they do use that.
Oh, just I don't know. You've hit the nail on the head. To run a blue line in the lead up, because that's the thing. Like if they announce whether they announce whatever, if they announce Sunny Coast as a course, then they're going to have to do a trial event on it. And what better way to trial it than age group athletes doing it? Like everyone will get the opportunity to run, hopefully, unless they look at doing a
Let's do the
multi-bucket,
selection
unless they
trials.
look at doing a spectator event. I couldn't imagine it, but I definitely know Sunny Coast Council would want an event that showcase the entire region. That's what we've tried to do with our one lap course. So have you done Sunny Coast?
I haven't done
Oh
Sunny
mate, I have to
Coast.
get you
No,
up.
I've got to get up there one year because and maybe this is a problem for you guys. Like the whole competition with Gold Coast. Like I feel like I go to Gold Coast every year, but I never go to Sunny Coast because it's kind of close. But I'm traveling to the race as well. So coming from, Victoria. But like yeah. Well, back to that Olympic like trial race. Like imagine with the controversy that we had last Olympics. Like if there was a hey, everyone's got to rock up. We're going first two or three, maybe first two across the line, and then the third spot's discretion. Like we're going to run the course. Like that would be amazing for marathon running in Australia. I know so many listeners would get there to watch our best go head to head to head and just have a massive throwdown on the course. And then like when do you ever get to run? I'm trying to think. I'm sure there's some out there like courses that have been Olympic marathon courses before.
Yeah, well, like that's the best thing about marathon I love about it. There aren't too many other sports where you can do it. You're lining up with the elites, right?
Mm.
Whether you're starting potentially 15 minutes behind if you're me, you're a bit closer to the front, but you're starting at the same time, and this course and every other course, you're seeing those lead runners at some point on course going the opposite direction with the cavalcade of cars, and that's to me a once in a lifetime experience. One, being there and watching the Olympics, but two, to me as a runner, um, if if you're a marathon runner, to run it the year before the actual Olympics would be way more on my bucket list to do it than actually coming to watch it itself, right? Like, because there's only a certain amount of people who ever do that. Everyone can watch it on TV, but the amount of people running it, that's a once in a lifetime, right?
Yeah, yeah, that'd be very, very special to do. What does your role look like? I think we're just over maybe 12 weeks until Sunshine Coast. Like, what are you doing for your days at this stage? Like, a lot of stuff, I'm sure, with the course is already locked in, but what's keeping you busy this far out?
Um, well, for Sunny Coast, it's getting this because we've got this one lapper. So the new one lapper, the half used to take in Mooloolaba, Maroochydore, um, Alexandria Headlands, which is start and finish, which is pretty much um, the most highly populated area of that region. Now, to get the extra 21 kilometres, we're running north out to Majimba. Now, to do that, we're running on sort of a motorway section, so it doesn't have anything either side of it, like similar to the Mooloolaba Tri and the Ironman course that they hold up there. So fast, but lacking, what would you say, you know, um, spectators to gee up people on course. So we're working towards having some things on in that area to actually gee up the runners, like with our aid stations and entertainment and things like that, to make it that those points that it's super fast. So I don't think the fast runners are going to really care. They just want a fast course. But the age groupers that are traveling interstate and internationally, they want to run a fun event as well. So we're working on um, making sure that it's exciting, not just a fast course, but an exciting course and a fun course for those guys that aren't chasing a super fast time.
Yeah. And is it a matter of like high tide rises all ships at the moment? Because you kind of just spoke about it before, like Gold Coast being about a month earlier, Sydney's come early now, so they're about a month later. Like we were talking off air about potentially some of the success of Ballarat becomes because it hasn't got a lot of competition in that kind of April time. But you're wedged right in the middle there with two of the big boys, and I guess Melbourne's kind of not that far in the next opposite direction, kind of in October.
Yeah, so like Goldie, arguably fastest course in Australia, right? And I get it. I get why the runners chase Goldie, not just because it's a fast course, but um, it's got depth, right? Because like I'm assuming you go there not just because it's a fast course, but you know you're going to be surrounded by other fast runners, and it's so much easier to run in a pack than solo.
Mm.
Um, so Sunny Coast again, it's a long term build for me. We ran a good half, and we did 6 years with the Australian half champs, and we've had some depth in the half, um, and we've had some fast times off the back of that. And everyone knows, you can run a fast time at Sunny Coast in the half. So I still think we're going to get. Well, I know we're still going to get top elite runners and top fast runners coming to do our half. To me now, as we build the one lapper and the one lap course, it's and growing into sort of a championship event is what we want to do. It's as an event organizer, we're investing in bringing runners to the event, and then also big, and with some funding coming from state government and which we're chasing at the moment, getting some big prize money to attract not just Aussie athletes, but some fast international athletes that the Aussie athletes can compete against. And that's my plan for the next 3 to 5 years. One, start to have a great course that we can have fast times on, but then how do I attract fast Aussie runners to this event? And the only way is we're going to have to give them some money and give them some good prize money. I think, and so we should,
Mm.
like I want the elites, and I want the top Aussie runners to actually start to make some money out of this sport, right? Like you're running the times the boys and girls are running now. They're legit. Like they're doing it full time. I know a lot of them are um, got coaching gigs on the side to just to be able to do what they do, but if they're running, if guys are running sub 215s and girls are running sub 230s, they should be paid well for it because, as you know, that there's some fast times in it, and it's not easy to run them, and they
Oh,
train freaking
the
hard to
time they
do
put
it.
in to run those times as well. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very
So
disciplined kind of behind the scenes. You don't see them much, but they're training their asses off.
yeah, and there's a running boom. There's numbers there. I want to support running in Australia because it's helped me create the business I have. So the next with that one lapper, that's it. Once we get the course right, then we're going to start investing in world champs and good prize money, bring in some good
Yeah,
runners, which means paying them to come here. So they will focus on our event over. We're just not thought of as a secondary event, right?
yeah. What's the elevation game with the new course, the one lap?
Just shy of 200.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So not ridiculously hilly. Like can still run pretty quick on that, and kind of,
Yeah.
I guess, looking in your crystal ball, do you see a sub 220 winning it this year for the men and a sub 230, 235 for the women?
Yeah, so the plan is this year, and we're in talks at the moment to get some 2:15 runners for the men. Um, that's what I want to, like, if it's somewhere between that sort of 2:13 to 2:17, that's, that as a domestic runner, that's quick, right?
Mm.
And it's going to show that the course is legitimately a good course to run a fast time on. It's going to be hard if I don't get depth. So I need to get some depth either in paces, and that's what we're looking at the moment. Because with Goldie and Sydney, and in credit to Sydney, they've done a great job supporting, not just getting the international athletes, but the prize money um, for the Australian marathon. Um, so we're not going to have the pick of each runner, but if we can get some paces to help out those 2:15 boys, then you know that's what we're aiming at. And then again, the females, sub 2:30. I'd love to see a sub 2:30 at the event. Um, the difference with, if we can get a couple of girls that are in form for sub 2:30, that's perfect. And the difference there is you're going to have guys that are running 2:25, and we don't need the paces there as such, because you're going to have groups of men that are going to be running as paces for them anyway. For that reason, like you said, if a little bit of wind comes up, they run into a block headwind, they can hide for that section. But yeah, that's a goal this year to post 2:15 men's, 2:30 women's, and then off the back of that go, all right, well, okay, guys and girls, as you can run a quick time here, reaching out to them and saying, here's some start money, here's some incentive money if you run a fast time. Come along and see what you guys can do.
There'll be some ears pricking from some of our listeners, especially those guys that, that 2:15 to 2:25 guys who might think, hey, they got no option for any prize money at Gold Coast or Sydney, that might think, okay, this is my next spot to go to the next marathon. So I'm sure there'll be a bit of interest after this chat for sure. Hey, how do you sleep going into the races? Like, that must be hard to switch off your brain the night before one of these massive races when you're in this position.
Well, yeah, well, it as a runner, like, it's that love, and it's no different. Like, an event's no different to whether you're organising it or running it. You're loving it, but you're also that anticipation, and that's why I do it. Once I lose that nervous, excitable energy, I'll say, right, time to hang up my boots. But that's the only reason I do it, right? And you'd know it as an athlete. I've felt it before as an athlete. That nervous, excitable energy the day before a race. That's exactly how I feel the night before an event. I I have a rule with my team that there's always got to be a plan B. Let's try and deliver as the best possible event we can each year, and every year we try and get 10% better. But I guarantee you, every year there's something that comes up that we just don't foresee. So don't be that person that doesn't have a plan B. And secondly, things are going to go wrong, but make sure you can put out spot fires and fix them, rather than you know hate yourself for getting something wrong, because it's the same as racing, right? You never have a perfect race. There's always something you can improve on, but that's why we keep doing it. If I ever organise a perfect race, well, it's never going to happen. I can guarantee it now. And that's what keeps coming me back. That's why I keep coming back, right? Because I can always get better. That's why I love doing what I'm doing.
Spot on. It's like when you have a really good race, but then you're still, I could have went a bit harder then. I shouldn't have finished so strong. Like, there's no such thing as it. I'm sure it's the same with surfing too. I've never surfed in my life, but they tell me it's the same. You're always searching for something that you may never actually find. So,
Oh, funny thing about that, like, I surf. I'm from the sunny coast, right? And I've surfed for a long time. And we just went away for a surf trip. Mate's 40th. We went away for 5 days down Arrowa, so just Coffs Harbour, just north of Coffs Harbour. And I thought I ripped when I surfed, but I had some look at some footage of me, and I was like, oh my god, I'm glad I'm glad I had a look at some footage because I've still got a lot of improvement to do when I'm surfing because what it looks like I'm doing on the wave compared to what I think I'm doing on the wave, it's totally different.
Yeah, it's like that with your running technique too, I'm sure. Like, I think I look like Craig Mottram, and then I see some footage of myself back, and I'm like, nah, 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 nowhere
Yeah,
near that. So yeah,
yeah.
hadn't
I
got a
look
minute of
like a
case study.
gazelle. I think I look like a gazelle, but it's really a drunk gazelle.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, Jason, this was fun. Is there anything else like we need to let the listeners know? I feel like we covered a lot of stuff and jumped down some rabbit holes, and um, yeah, I feel like Sunny Coast has always been there, but it's becoming more and more on the map. Like it's and just hearing your passion for wanting to support the elite athletes in particular and making the course faster, it's obviously heading in the right direction to that massive pinnacle, which is going to be 2032 for your area.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's the first time we've chatted. You'll find I'm sort of ops background. I don't like to put myself forward as Atlas Events. I think for me, Atlas Events is my team. I sort of pride myself on trying to run good events, and also the background that I've had with being an elite. I think one, like I said, giving back to community and charity, but now that Atlas is starting to do well and grow and have more events, to me it's now I want to look at giving back to the running community. So you'll never see me sort of putting my this is uncommon for me, right? I don't come
Mm.
on these sort of things much, and that's probably why we haven't spoken before. But I do love what I do. Thanks for having me on here. Hope I haven't made an idiot of myself. But yeah, Sunny Coast is our passion. Well, from a prestige and a running event that hopefully when I retire out of this, I can go not just we had 25,000 people at this event. That doesn't excite me about Sunny Coast. What excites me about Sunny Coast is we ran like a top level event, like a world class event. That I suppose that's what sums it up. I want to be able to get to the point where I say I ran a world class event, which means two things: you got to run a good event, and secondly, you got to have great athletes there, and that's to me what if we can do that with Sunny Coast in the lead up to the games and post games, a good event with some super fast runners, then I've ticked my box.
The rest takes care of itself. No, you make a good point about people in your roles as well. Like I think it's really good in Australia knowing most of the big ones, and it's very much they're behind the curtain and they kind of let their event do the talking and how successful it is. And then you might see the occasional one that it seems to be all about them. Like how good am I? I'll put on this event, which is a bit cringy if you ask me. But yeah, I totally respect the way you go about it.
Yeah, one person can't run this event, right? At Sunny Coast this year, we'll have 800 volunteers. Like,
Yeah,
I think
huge.
Sydney's got 2,000. Like yeah, you can't say that I'm running this event. It's not me. And the event wouldn't even have started without the commitment of those, like I said, from Vegas, two guys putting a hand in their pocket and making it happen. I had another guy buy into the business to help it grow, and without that sort of stuff, yeah, it's never a one man band. And I personally don't know of anyone in Australia that is doing that, and I respect that. I've never met Wayne Larden. I probably should meet the guy, but for what he's doing with Sydney, seems like such a humble dude.
Mm.
And what he's done for running in Australia, just love to shake the guy's hand and say, "Well done, mate." Like it's incredible to get a world major here. And to me, from what I see, he's humble. He's doing why he's doing it for the right reasons. He's doing it for the sport, not for his own back pocket.
Yeah, he loves it. He's a legend of Australian like events and a bloody good runner in his own right as well back in the day. So yeah, you're right. And he's very chilled out behind the scenes as well. It's been awesome, mate. I'm going to let you go because I'm sure you got a list of things you got to get organised with all these events you're running. But yeah, really appreciate your time for the Inside Run podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for your time, and appreciate you having me on. let me know when you want to come and run Sunny Coast one year, mate.
Oh yeah, well I've just come off Ballarat Marathon, so my calendar is free. I've got to start putting some races in the calendar for the next 6 months. I got Valencia in December, but yeah, the ears have pricked at my end as well when I'm hearing about some of and Sunny Coast is a beautiful place to visit. Like
Yeah,
I
it's not hard to sell the location. So
could convince my wife very easily, I think, that we should go to
you
Sunny
got
Coast for
family
a long
or
weekend. Yeah, I got two young kids as well, which are 5 and 2. So talking about Brizzy 2032, I'm like, they're going to be, 12 and 9. So like, I got to get them up there, and they're going to get a massive, experience to be able to watch an Olympics at that such a special age where it's going to mean so much to them.
yeah, you got your wife runs? Is that how you?
She does, yeah. She runs. So, yeah, she was in action. She ran a PB at the 5K, very recreationally at the 5K in Ballarat last week. But she enjoys
Right.
jumping in a race as well. So that's always good to be able to make a weekend of it.
Mate, you're in the trenches 2 and 5. Mine are 11 and 13. We're starting to come out of it now. Both keen runners,
Yeah,
and it's so
You're
good.
about to be in a different trench though.
Yeah, yeah, two
I
girls, teenagers. Don't remind me of that,
I
mate. I'm not
teach
looking
grade
forward to
6 a
that.
couple of day a week. So, yeah, 12, 13-year-olds. So I know the trenches you're about to jump into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Keep them close to home as long as I can. I think
Yeah, and involved in sport. Sport's good for kids.
keep them busy.
Awesome, mate. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we can chat more about off air about parenting stuff.
Yeah, legend.
The Eva Air Sunshine Coast Marathon Festival is back and better than ever on Sunday, August 3rd. Take on the first ever single lap marathon on the Sunshine Coast, or choose from the half marathon, 10k, 5k, or 2k. Entries are filling up fast, so don't miss your chance to be part of the fun. Sign up now at sunshinecoastmarathon.com.au.